I guess.
See, this is funny. IT was here on time before the show started. The moment I hit the go live button, Uncle Pooh just pop up in the window like.
You see me?
Oh Lord, Grandpa, you okay? Oh, that's why it took so long. His internet.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh.
That's that Inkster. That's the Inksternet.
That's the Inksternet.
The Inksternet. I like that word.
We're having a full blown conversation with him. Oh no, Grandpa, you gotta let your internet catch up to you. All right. All right. There we go. No, we don't.
Yeah, keep freezing on you, Dad.
I know. I have an idea what's going on. Okay.
Yeah, real conversation too. He mean it.
Oh yeah, he talking. He dropping whole gems.
I guess it looked like we froze if we just listening.
Yeah, he like y'all got some bad internet.
Bad energy today.
Y'all, yeah. He probably put his router by the heater again. I just got to move it away.
Why don't you call him?
You know, Grandpa he'd be like, I can make this run more efficient. And energy and heat are the same thing. A Freddy upgrade. Are you calling him Uncle Pooh Bear?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was responding.
I thought you said you were calling. My bad.
Nah, he told you to call him.
All right, I'm calling right now. Shoot, why don't y'all be in while I call Grandpa? I'll just mute myself real quick.
Go for it.
Well, today I don't know. I think I had this one. I don't know if I had this one. I don't remember which ones I had out the box. But today is Bright Sunshiny Haze by Goose Island. It's a hazy IPA, 6.8%. And as my shirt tells you, I like IPAs, but I pee a lot when I drink. So I wore my shirt today because I figured I would have an IPA based on what was down there. I can't keep drinking on them big boys. Not when it's starting to get warm, even though it ain't that warm today. So pretty clever. Looks like an IPA.
Looks like a hazy IPA.
Not super hazy.
No, it all went away.
I don't know. From the color, I'm not
sure. It's Goose Island. They only do big beers.
So
but this is what I'm interested in.
Oh, you had that one. That's one I had that one too. You had that one. That's what you had last time. Well, let me see the can.
This is tropical.
I had that one. I think that's the one I gave you the first time.
Nope, because
that's the 8% one, right?
This is 9.9%.
9.9. Yeah, that's. Oh, I guess what I gave you them because I gave you the biggest one the first time we opened it up. Oh, well, I'm wrong. So
that's why I went in and specifically got it.
So what did you have the first time then? Because I could have sworn I gave you the biggest one.
I had Secret. Secret. I feel like I had another one.
I'm thinking it's gonna be about a 6.25, somewhere around there. Decent, but without anything to write home about. So we got a lot of head on it. No, the head. Huh?
6.25?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Somewhere around there.
Smelling good and marginal. I go with a 6.
I'll give it a 6. My rating stays the same, 6.25. Nothing. It's a little flat. Not a lot of mouthfeel, but it's actually decent. If it was a hot day, I would probably really, really like this. But since it's just like a cool overcast day, it's like, it'll be all right. But after working in the yard or something like that, I would probably like this one a lot more. It'd probably be like a 7.25. You like that one?
Almost. Like it's it got a little. It's just a little off is off. Like it disappeared too fast.
Mm-hmm.
But it's tangy. It's solid. It's I kind of want to go above 6. But it's like I don't know. Like if it just had a little bit more twang to it, I could get it over the hump and go to 7. But it's better than I thought it was gonna be.
I had a tall can of it. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, no, I can. Yeah, this is all right.
That's why I was okay with getting the pack because I don't really like messing with too many people's variety packs, especially with breweries that like hit or miss. But I remember that one was decent. I was gonna say nothing to write home about. It was crazy how at one point I was like completely all IPAs, but it's like I feel like I've grown away from that. What I need, and I said need, is I miss a good Scotch ale. That's what I need to find. I would probably be very happy with a Scotch ale right about now. This is like Scotch ale weather, so maybe barley wine might be a little too heavy, but I could do with a Scotch ale right now.
I don't like regular IPAs, so it's got to be Imperial, or double, or triple. I ain't gonna say I don't like regular IPAs, but I don't want to go buy. I'm not going to buy none. I know that.
Yeah, this was decent though. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it, but I'm not super ecstatic. But I drink it.
I mean, but at home having a beer to drink, like I could drink it.
I didn't do nothing. I didn't even touch it.
All right, so
you can't come on complaining, Pops.
He's back.
Hey, Pops, raise your right hand and rub your hair down. We can't have you out here.
You asking him?
Ain't nobody gonna say nothing to you.
The buffering.
Oh, there we go.
The buffering is what's going on here.
I thought it was over.
Grandpa done connected, got disconnected, trying to connect again.
Yeah, what did he do?
He's back to having that conversation.
I love the face of he's frozen on though. That was awesome.
No, so it's definitely his internet because he's steady. It's like he got disconnected.
That's always it. But you termed it right. You can never call it internet again. It's the Inksternet. The Inksternet is
the Inksternet.
That is the perfect name for it.
Inksternet.
Like seriously.
And I was gonna go home.
I think Pop's saying something.
That's the after image of him talking. He don't already in another conversation.
It's a whole different conversation.
It's like one of those foreign dub movies. Like his mouth is moving, but the different sound from words before coming out.
I wonder, do he hear us? He don't hear us. Huh?
He said when I called him a second ago, he was just like, I can still see y'all talking to me and everything. I'm like, Grandpa, you're not even in here.
You're not in there.
But I'm sure in a few minutes, this conversation will get to him and he'll respond to those questions. I think he'll catch up momentarily.
You know how the internet is a series of zeros and ones?
Yeah.
In the Inksternet, somebody writing it out. They got a little chalk on a chalkboard and they're like, what? Woo, man. He'll come back in a second. That's not him disconnect. That's his internet disconnected.
So nephew, how'd you come up with the name for the show today?
Oh, so I was looking at I had posted something during the week, and one of my friends had replied with a story about. So this was about rent, right? Like how rent has been going up.
Mm-hmm.
And he just told me that his daughter just graduated from college,
mm-hmm.
and she just got a job in not California, Chicago, right? But so here I'm gonna read what he said. He said, so she negotiated everything. Her resume looked suspicious because she claimed 8 years of experience working in transportation. She used my company as her experience because he owns a shipping company. Trucking company, shipping company, same. But when she interviewed, she spit all the verbiage and legal terms and knew the laws and rules. She was hired with only a BA when the job posting wanted a master's degree in logistics or 4 years experience. She used stuff she learned in high school working part-time at middle management roles straight out of college. And like I wanted to bring that up because my friend is black. You know, he after out of college he wasn't played sports in Michigan State. Out of college, he didn't, you do your thing, and eventually he's like, I got a family growing, I gotta do something. So he bought his own 18-wheeler, like what the shipping trucks, and he just started stacking money, and eventually he grew into his own fleet. And his kids, when they got older, he put them in his business, so they would have like a paper trail saying they worked for so many years, having experience, and now it's been paid dividends because like. To piggyback off what my post was about how rising rent price has just been going up and up and up faster than inflation. So for her apartment, I think he said I have to look back to the post, but it was, let's just say, I think it was like $3,000 or $4,000 a month. And I'm like, this shouldn't be no way no college student should be able to afford that. And he's like, oh yeah, she does have a roommate, but she negotiated like a 6-figure deal out of college, and I was like, that's fantastic. And that's when he broke down. Because like all the, because he had a business, he put her in the business, and that made me think about something in California that I saw. So you see a lot of at Thai and Chinese food restaurants. You sometimes like I went to this one particular like a couple times a month, and I would see the cash register all the time. This little boy sitting in the cash register putting in the orders and everything. He couldn't be more than 5 or 6. Put in the cash, like, taking the orders and stuff like that. And, that's like some people like, you shouldn't be doing that. But like in my mind, I'm like, that kid is, by the time he graduates high school, is going to have more managerial experience than people coming out with master's degrees because he knows all the inventory. He knows how to use the computers, the programs they're using through ages. So from that age up until he's out of high school,
right, legacy computing going up.
Yeah, he had upgraded all the databases and everything. He at that time, I can imagine he's probably been the tech person. He'd have been the dishwasher. He'd have been a
service. His customer relation skills is off the chain.
Like, he has more tactical information and knowledge as opposed to just book knowledge. I mean, that goes way further than anything else. You can actually apply all the things.
That's how Gary Vee grew up in his family's liquor store.
Yep.
Who's Gary Vee?
You don't know Gary Vee?
Is this another one? Is this another one of Inkster's finest?
No. Gary Vaynerchuk, you never heard of him? He's like he owned like some big marketing company, but man, he started off just as an internet marketer. If you type in Gary Vee,
it'll pop up.
Yeah. He do a lot of motivational talk, but he owns Vayner Media.
And he curses a lot. He's so damn real, it's ridiculous. I love it.
I might look him up. Before I continue, I do have Iron Maiden Trooper Premium British beer today.
You mean Trooper? That's two O's.
Okay. I was like, I just saw one diamond. I was just like, okay.
Then you guys would say you saw a pyramid too. Those O's.
A diamond and pyramid. You know what? Like I'm harking back to what I always say. I am paid to lead, not to read.
I'm using that.
So, this is charged with flavor. Apparently, this is Iron Maiden, the rock group. They done made beer for years now. This is a couple years ago. Me and Grandpa had tried their sake beer. This is the British ale. So, it wasn't bad that I remember. So this is that pour.
Nephew, I would get you some real beer glasses because that's like an iced tea glass.
Yes.
That's a Kool-Aid glass. That's lemonade glass.
Whenever I'm downstairs, I just grab whatever I can to come up.
Nephew.
Have some pride in your beer drink.
We got to do better.
Do better.
Okay. I'll get it.
Your wife would not approve of that.
You know what? You're right.
See, I love how you mumble "I'm right" up under your breath, but way to acknowledge
it. It tastes good. It tastes like beer. Like Grandpa would like it. I'm gonna bring. I got 3 more cans. I'll bring him one.
If he likes it, that means it's like a 3.
No, I mean it has a flavor to it, so it's gonna be more than 3.
If that's the best way you can describe it, is that it has a flavor to it.
Oh, let me think about it. It tastes like you just got off work out the steel mill. You got a little soot in your mouth, and you want to, and then you drink some water, and that taste combines. That's what it kind of tastes. It tastes like hard work. That's what I mean.
It tastes like hard work and poor and broken dreams.
I don't want that. It's crazy. I was watching it. So, nephew, do you watch Bridgerton?
I've seen some with Ashley, yes.
So I was watching it last night, and they actually talked about the tawdry. I said, "Oh shit!" Somebody else talking about the poor and the tawdry. The tawdry. What did they say? The tawdry. Something. I said, I don't think I've heard that in a real conversation ever, other than when my girl said it. The poor and the tawdry.
Well, speaking back of the poor and tawdry, it's the way we're going this economy, especially when like we've all talked about this before, like. Or at least you've heard it from like people in my generation talking about they want you to have 10 years experience out of college. And when I used to think like, how is that even possible? But like as I'm getting older, it's because like this really proves the education system and the business system is really linked to it's like the wealth get richer. Like you mean you went to college and your family didn't own a business for you to work in? How am I supposed to
you didn't start in high school? Because if you need 10 years, that's 4 years undergrad, 2 years grad, plus all your years in high school.
And that boy in California, the little boy I was telling you about earlier, 10 years, I got 20. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
He's like, I'm overqualified.
But real talk though, like I'm trying not to hurt so much. He messed around and try not to he wouldn't even want to work for anybody else anyway. He just gonna open his own. He's learned so much about it that he may as well just go and open his own. He gonna talk his family into branching out, franchising, and all the other things. So no need to go work for somebody else because I already know the thing. Like, hell, y'all should be working for me because I know all the ins and outs. I've been doing it for 20 years and 25. I can find that anywhere else.
It reminds me of something I saw Danny post. Dude gave 7 tips to wealth or something. No, 7 things I did in my 20s that made me financially free in my 30s. The first thing was he was making $500,000 a year in his 20s. I stopped the video. Like, fuck out of here. You ain't got no tips, motherfucker. You 500. That's why you rich in your 30s, because you was making $500,000 a year in your 20s. All you had to do was not blow it, right? So it just
not blowing it's hard apparently.
I respect the people who don't blow it. It's got to be a thing, unless he came from money. Right. And he already had and he understood how to manage money because that's what he came from. How else do you get to $500,000? Like, most people
you think that's impossible?
No, I don't think it's impossible. I just think the vast majority of people don't reach $500,000 a year in income in their life. Like that's got to be a 1-2% joint. And when you get into 20-year-olds doing it, that's the lottery ticket.
So tell me again what the title was. What did he say?
7 things I did in my 20s to make me financially free in my 30s.
Okay, there we go. I couldn't remember what you said it was. Okay.
So he was talking about living below your means, right? Mm-hmm. So you live below your means. Even when I started making $500,000 a year, I had a roommate, and I had roommates, and we split bills so I could reinvest all of my income. What? That's what lost me $500,000 a year. Like,
did you do some more research to figure out how he got it?
No, I did. I didn't go into it at all. But that's not. I'm not like knocking him. I mean, he could have started.
Nah, shit. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, he could have did anything. I'm just saying that's how you got financially free. It's because you had $500,000. It ain't the same if you making $35,000 or you making $30,000 a year. You can't save your way to wealth. No way. You got $470 extra $1,000. That's how you got
some
financial.
Some people sport that shit, and some people want to spend it on everybody else. But no, so what were the other 6 though? So he had a roommate, and what else? Because I actually saw somebody else.
I mean, it was sound advice. I thought it was sound advice. I don't remember. I don't remember the 7 offhand, but it was like, yeah. I mean, educating yourself. Making sure that you're learning and reading, reinvesting into your business, into reinvesting all your additional capital. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It might have been like the life insurance joint. his last one I remember was showing appreciation, gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yeah, it was great. So it was like some super tangible stuff and then some soft stuff like that. But like it just threw me off to hear him talk about making $500,000 a year.
Yeah,
like, that's why you financially free.
That reminds me of I wonder if it's the same dude that I saw, but they were it was a post about delayed gratification and how people say, well, I'm at this stage in my life, so I'm supposed to, or I should. And they'll spend all this money trying to live up to this hype and this status level, whatever, as opposed to saying, this is the most economical way for me to reach my goals. And he was talking about having a roommate. So I wonder if that's the same one, but he was just saying, like a lot of people act like they don't want to have a roommate in their 20s and 30s. But if I can save my money so that I can invest it and put it here, why wouldn't I do it? If that 1 year or 2 years of having a roommate is going to set me up for life, why not do it? And so many people want everything right now, as opposed to putting in the work. And I was like, that's a good point, but I can't remember.
I heard Mark Cuban say that because they asked Cuban recently.
I feel like I saw Jim Carrey say it too.
Yeah, because Cuban, like in his book, he talked about living with like 5 or 6 guys. Like some of them slept on the floor, some of them got like there was like 5 or 6 of them in like a 2 or 3 bedroom or something like.
Well, that's not unusual. I mean, a lot of people have done that. Like we talk about.
Didn't David John talk about that too?
Probably.
I feel like David John talked about that in his book.
Well, I think he stayed with his mama.
Not even that. I mean, shoot, Uncle Pooh Bear, you had all your brothers and sisters live in the same house. We didn't been to Grandma Taylor's house. That's not a joke. Like, cause remember, Grandpa done added to that house. Grandpa done. So like, it's like, what? How many siblings do you have, Uncle Pooh? Like 5 or 6?
Yeah.
So that's 6 kids plus Grandpa and Grandma. So that's 8 people. And
so 7 kids.
7. So that's 8 people. I mean, 9 people in the house. I mean, that's not unusual. People who have been not even just black people. People who have been historically not wealthy tend to stack up into whatever shelter they can and pull their resources together.
Well, if they're smart, that's why you see.
If they're smart, that's a tried and trusted way to survive.
Yeah.
That's how Dearborn got changed from a majority white city to a majority Muslim city. They came over here, bought one house at a time. It'd be 20 of them in that house. When they got enough money, they buy a second house. They put, they break up the people into the other houses and they buy up the block. You can't even buy a house in certain parts of Dearborn unless you know the right person. No.
Yeah, but that's the steps that a lot of us are missing. I grew up in a house of 10 people, but there was no stacking of resources to grow wealth to be able to buy more properties and all stuff. It was 10 people living in the same damn house. It's a difference when there are 10 people and you have 4 or 5 of them really working and combining their money together to be able to, create more. But unfortunately, a lot of us, I think that situation is different from what we originally started talking about with Mark Cuban and all these other people. These are whole ass adults who could be living on their own when most people would want to live on their own and have their own apartment. They've chosen not to, and they've all chosen to just stay together so that they can grind it out and, sacrifice for a year or two, sacrifice that so-called freedom and that status of having your own spot. Whereas like what you're talking about, that was just family living. Like you lucked out where but I'm saying that you lucked out where you the only child in the household. So, but like in our situations, there were a shitload of siblings and siblings who were having kids. So it wasn't the situation of everybody living together in order to stack resources. That was necessity.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
He done rebooted his machine again.
Hold okay.
Oh, I thought he was coming in.
No, I am. I muted myself so I can read the stuff to him.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I'm just saying. I say what I said. I get what he's saying, and I appreciate it. I initially thought he was taking a conversation to give him Pops credit for being able to, maintain that many adults in the household at once, because a lot of people in the house. But I'm just saying the situations are a little different because that's basically like right now, or like Jael, whoever, You know what I'm saying? They're just gonna get 3-4 roommates if they had the money to live on their own. But instead of saying, I could live on my own, but I wouldn't be able to reach my financial goals. So you know what? I'm just gonna room with 3-4 people, and we might share a room. Somebody might sleep on the couch, but it's gonna allow me to save this amount of dollars so I can invest this amount of dollars to be able to get this amount of return. That's a different type of grind, and I think that's what, like the guy you were talking about, I think that's what he was talking about. Even though he could have lived on his own, he chose not to because financially he wanted to grow faster.
Yeah, because the truth is, somebody, especially in your 20s, you making $500,000. You spend
party at my penthouse every weekend.
There's another part of that too, because I mean, like say you don't like have a bunch of people you rooming up with and everything. I remember getting a lot of flack for buying that house on the east side because I was just like, I know the value's gonna go up because I knew what was happening. Don't. I mean,
no. I'm gonna let you finish your statement, and I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say.
I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you
finish. I didn't say anything. I just cleared my throat.
No, you didn't. You turned you see, this is a nonverbal communication, ladies and gentlemen. She did this and cleared her throat. She didn't send a message. But
so I'll say this before you finish. You didn't catch flack for buying because I feel like this is important. You didn't catch flack for buying it for the financial reasons. Your flack was that you tried to surprise your wife to be with a house. That was the flack. It wasn't for if it was a sound investment. Nobody ever questioned that. Everybody's always questioned your rationale, how frugal you are, how reasonable you are. We all understood that. It was the fact that you all didn't discuss it together and decided. You hit her with a ta-da. That was the flack. Now continue.
To Josh, to his defense, it was a investment opportunity wrapped in a starter home, but it was really about the second home. That's what he really bought. He bought the second home for.
Yes,
that's what but he had to show you the first one because he didn't have the second one yet. That's what that was. So,
yes,
well played, brother.
We just said the same thing. I just said it was the fact that he threw it on her and they didn't discuss it together. Because
I didn't say that. That wasn't in my conversation.
Okay.
I mean, this truth to what Auntie said, but
supposed to mumble that a little lower. Pops, you back.
Sort of.
Grandpa be having stills of this should be on his dating profile. This picture right here with the leg crossed.
Wow.
Arm looking.
Is he frozen? He frozen again, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna have to. I mean, I'll probably be over there. I'll probably be over there Friday, so I'll check him out, move his stuff around. Cause you see that white thing in the back against the wall? I think that's the router right there, and it's right by the heater.
Yeah, I saw it before it went away.
It's already hot on there. You know it needs to be on the floor under an ice pack or something.
Exactly. Like it's Grandpa liked to feng shui of his room a certain way. It can't be done. It can't be done any other way. But you know what? I have another topic too that someone brought to me.
You didn't finish what you were saying.
Oh,
why you all sweating and shit? You got all nervous thinking about throwing the house on your wife.
I don't know how. I've told this story plenty of times before. She told me she wasn't coming back to Detroit without a house and a ring. I was like, "Is that all you want?" She didn't say nothing else. She was just like, because she probably thought I wasn't going to do it, and I was just like, "Bet you didn't."
You know what, nephew, let me go on record as to saying, I give you mad credit and mad props for expressing your commitment and your love to her. Like real talk, like that. There's literally no shade. That is the truth. Like I said, it'd been nice if you had consulted some of your elders. But you said, look here, I wanted that woman. She said she needed 2 things. I got them 2 things, and you got your woman. So cheers to you, baby, because your plan worked.
They're buying that second house. Great job, man. Foresight.
But yeah, that's what it was. I mean, to tie it all together before I go to the next topic, it's I I like. Is that the way though? Is that the move for the future for this generation? Like, if you don't have access to somebody, like I think it's always been the move, but like, is it mandatory now? Like, you got to have somebody that you can like internship with or be an apprentice to early in life. Like, it's almost like you got to know what you want to do even earlier now, so you can put the years in. Because
I think that it varies depending on different time frames and even industries, because there are some industries they don't give a damn. They want those credentials, point blank, in the period. They don't care how much experience you have. They'll train you up, but they want the credentials because that's what they need on their paperwork to show that they have this many people who have this many credentials. Because there was a time where it was just about credentials. It seems like now it's a lot more about experience, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes back to credentials. And some of those industries are just going to stay that way anyway. So you really don't know. But when you read that, honestly, the first thing that came to my mind was kudos to her for going out for it. So like, you had Nancy on a couple weeks ago. Like, I can't remember if we talked about the book Lenient by Sheryl Sandberg at all, but something she talks about in that book is about, because when Nancy was talking about negotiating salaries and all that stuff, or even applying for jobs, typically women only apply for positions where they feel they meet all the requirements on the checkoff list. So the fact that there was a requirement of something as big as having a master's, and she applied anyway, and she got that joint and negotiated her salary, that big ups to that baby girl, because that's not, but you know what, that's the millennial balls, their audacity, their entitlement. Like, it's like all the millennials are Chads. They all walking around as Chads. Like, I want it, I'm gonna go get it. Because you wouldn't find too many women in my generation who would be like, you know what, I ain't have, you know, they said master, so I'm out. I'm not even gonna look at it. We literally would just skip right over the shit. So kudos to her for that. Like, you know what, I may not have the master's, but they only want 4 years experience and I got twice that. So I'm gonna keep it go down.
I think that has to do, this is just a theory, and it's probably people are gonna be mad at me for saying this, but I think a part of this has to do with just how different men and women are raised. Like, men are taught to think that there's always a way to kind of hit the angle to get to where I want to go. Like,
you can finagle this.
Just try it, you know. Whereas, like, you know, it's like, just from what I've seen from certain people, from certain women, it's like, unless it's perfect, right? And like you said, Auntie, unless it's absolutely perfect, all T's crossed, all I's dotted, it's not for you. And I think the fact that he was so involved in her life, especially so young, to get her a part of his business. Yeah. Like, she saw a different, not to say that it's a man thing. It's just the fact that she was in the environment where she saw people have to not take no as an answer and finagle it. And she wasn't put in a box where she had to think or be taught to think a certain way.
Yeah. You know, I didn't realize that was my life until literally within the last 19 years, my last job. So the lady who hired me, she came to my desk one Monday. I had only been there for a few months, not even a year yet. I don't think I've been there for a year, maybe about 6 to 9 months. And she came and told me, she said, you know what, Chris, I was thinking about this weekend. So I was so frustrated. And I was talking to my husband about you. And I'm like, that ain't what you want to hear your boss say. You know, like, I was thinking about you and I was frustrated this weekend. But she said, you've been taught to be in a box for so long that you're just a worker bee. You're not comfortable branching out and, you know, thinking big, because there's always been somebody in your life telling you how to move, how to think, what to do. So when it comes time for you to venture out and just explore, you struggle with that. And I was like, damn, like, that was harsh, but it was truth, you know. So interesting.
You muted.
No, he's on the phone.
I was helping Grandpa with it again. Yeah, something's definitely going on with Aaron, that man. Like, they must be doing something over there where they must be upgrading or changing something out, because he said now it's flashing red. I'm like, okay, it's
You
either
tell him
that
try
or
the
something, huh?
You tell him try the phone?
Well, he was just on his phone, but he's trying to fix his whole internet in the house now. He's going around plugging stuff.
That's another thing. But Chris,
Like,
that was deep though. Yeah. That who was that? Who said
Tracy.
that? Tracy. Wow. Yeah, but that's what Sheryl Sandberg talk about and Lean In for real. Like women are conditioned to think a certain way. Men just don't think that way, like at all. Like Josh say, like, nah, that's for normal people who can't get in. For me though, there's a way we can get into this door. Yeah, that's like a societal thing, right?
yeah, it's a societal thing. I think it's also the idea of that's a different topic. But I'll go on to the next thing I was trying to point out. My friend sent it's not an article, but it's a picture talking about how certain companies. This one is in Atlanta. I don't know. They didn't give the name, but apparently they're using AI bots for interviews now, for interviewing people for jobs like HR, like traditionally like an HR thing. They got AI bots who have been trained or learned like how to respond to certain questions or how to like kind of I guess it's the first part of the interview process, but you got to talk to a machine now. And this is
you may as well just have me fill out a damn application and type out essay questions, because all the AI bot is doing is grabbing keywords to see if you hit so many keywords to be able to give you points. That's it.
Well, like she pointed out a few things that I was thinking, because like I told her, I was like, hey man, this is about to be another problem for I made a joke. I was like, oh man, they didn't seen so many black people try to get in HR. I was like, we got to stop this. But she was just like, she brought up a point that's very, very valid. There's been a few documentaries and a few studies that have shown that AI is already biased against darker skinned people. Like we've seen it with how video cameras have a hard time seeing black people on camera, or like in their program for this. Like especially
Really?
for the facial recognition technology. You didn't hear about that thing where people were getting falsely accused by cameras that were seeing them and identifying them as another different black person. Yeah, like this, it's art, and they found that there's a lot of implicit bias hard coded into these machines from the programmers, and it's mainly because
the programmers are biased,
and they're just not black people. Like we're such a small number of us doing like coding compared to the number of people who are doing it mainstream, that this is just another obstacle now, because before you might be able to get a human being in there and fake it out till you make it to get the job. Now this computer is looking for, they're like, what's your name? And like they hear your name, like you said, Auntie, looking for certain keywords. Like this name ain't in the database.
But you know what though? It benefits the companies, because if the AI is trained to ask the same questions of each person, especially in the same order based on keywords, then they're showing that there was no discrimination because everybody was asked the same questions, or it was coded. I think that's what they're trying to set themselves up for.
But we don't already prove that standardized questions like that they don't work. Like what was it? Someone pointed out in the ACT or the SAT, one of those tests where it's just there's questions written in there that are things that certain groups of people will just have no access to.
But standardized questions to a test and interviewing for a specific position at a specific company, that's different. So me just randomly asking you about the Pythagorean theory and that's just me randomly wanting to know who remembers that stupid shit from school. Mm-hmm. But if I'm hiring you to work for my company and I'm asking you about whatever, about calorie deficit or whatever, there are certain things that you should be able to know if you're applying for this position, or if I'm asking you to know about my company, there are certain things you're supposed to be able to know. And especially if it's the first round, the preliminary, because typically what's supposed to happen is that if people apply for the first round and they meet certain qualifications for these interview questions, they're supposed to move to the next round to be able to be interviewed by whoever. So if I'm interviewed and I'm not even asked to come back, you got to tell me why. Because now if I'm talking to a person, I can say, I'm running through my head like, man, maybe Joshua didn't like me. He did ask me, was Michigan State my favorite school? You know what I'm saying? Or some shit like that. And I could easily come back and say, you use that as discrimination against me because I'm a Michigan fan. So like, it's sad that so many people literally, you don't understand how many people go into interviews with no intent to get hired. The sole intent is to catch up the interviewer so that they can hire for discrimination. Just like coming in, a friend's interviewing me right now, and I look back there, I'm like, oh, that black and white, that color picture back there, are those your parents? Yeah, those are my parents. Oh, cool. Do you have kids too? Fred would say, yeah, I got this and talking this and Fred would naturally just ask me, do you have kids? And I could say, no, I don't. Or yes, I do. That threw him into a pocket because he didn't ask anybody else if they had kids. But people literally do this shit just to catch up possible employers to be able to sue. This is what I trained in my old corporate job.
So how often does that happen?
That shit is frequent. When I tell you, like, I can't tell you. So, Fred, when me and Brett used to drive through Florida, Ohio, I'm doing tours through the country, trying to get these employers to stop me, these managers to stop asking these questions. Like, you have to be specific and stick to the script, because once you veer off and ask me something that you probably didn't ask somebody else, and I didn't get an interview, and I didn't get the job, fam, it's too easy. It's too easy. That's why I'm saying I think those bots are set to be like, try to give an interaction that's outside of the regular application that you'll find online. But I think that's also being put in place to save their ass so that they can say, it's coded, so whenever they say this word, or if they answer yes or no, this is the next question. And that's to everybody, as opposed to trying to figure out. Because when I tell you, we had some managers, we used to be like, fam, you're going to get the whole company sued. We're going to lose all the things because you keep asking random folks these questions. Well, I need, no. Just like, even you can't even say, like, one of the bigger issues in Florida, one of the managers kept wanting to make it required that they spoke Spanish to work there. And we're like, you can't make it required. That's discrimination in the application right there. You could say preferred, but you can't make it a requirement just because you're in Florida. I'm like, I'm in Florida right now and I'm not speaking Spanish. And y'all can still help me. But so it's like, it's crazy. But folks are that petty where they don't want to work. They'll just rather sue.
That's interesting. I didn't even look at that angle. So I mean, I guess in a way that is good to get the basic questions out the way. Like, have you ever been like arrested or I don't know, stuff like that they probably should ask everybody.
Yeah, and sorry for my long rant, y'all.
No, I mean, I didn't learn because I didn't know I didn't even think about it like that. I just thought it was another way to take humans out of the equation.
And that part too, people that don't have to pay for it because so another thing is the interviewing process costs so much money, because unfortunately so many people, believe it or not, people don't even show up for the interviews. So if you're the manager and you've blocked off this time to interview all these people, and then people don't show, you've wasted time that you could have been just managing or onboarding and training a new employee. So that's why employee retention is so huge, because it's 7 times more expensive to get a new employee than to just keep that employee that you have. And so that's why a lot of places will do the group interviews. So that way, they don't worry about 1 or 2 people not showing. We're going to get all this shit done at the same time. But there are a lot of people who just basically flake on the whole interview. So it wastes time. So if they can have somebody else or a machine who can do that so that the manager can keep managing their people and running their location, then it just saves time.
I didn't realize it's 7 times the amount.
Yep.
So like you got to really mess up to lose your job.
But no, I'm saying 7 times more expensive.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if it's more expensive to get a new person and just keep somebody, like that means you got to be terrible. Like
that's why employers are like, you know what? I don't want, because you had to think about it, that employee, they're no longer working. Somebody has to fill in that position. That work still needs to get done. Plus you're taking out ads, you're interviewing. That's time that you're interviewing, however many hours you interview, because you're interviewing multiple people multiple times, submitting background paperwork, drug tests. There's so much that goes into it, as opposed to if that employee was just still working.
That's a good point too. You're probably also like paying overtime, like for in certain cases.
Somebody's working time and a half because they got to cover for the lack of employees.
That's good. So if y'all had to run into any of this, like this, y'all hiring people. So like if y'all thought about getting bots or, anything like, or having requirements of having multiple years or something in order to get somebody?
Nah, we're not hiring at that type of pace. You know what I mean? Like, I've hired 4 people this year. Like, that's it.
That's a lot.
I was about to say, which is a ton for us, right? We actually hired 5 people and fired 1, right? And because we had 3 hired that position, but that's insane. That's like an insane clip for us, right? So, I don't foresee needing no bot or nothing like that. And ain't nobody. I guess we had a potential to get caught up in a little HR joint. Like if we wouldn't have hired, I don't even know if I'm afraid.
Don't say it, but I know what you're talking about. Because we've had that conversation, but don't.
Yeah. So
we don't want any legal ramifications on the Untitled Beer Record Show.
Yeah. I feel like I hired him though, so it's like I don't know, but I wasn't even thinking about the potential fallout. Like Chris is saying, like people actually just try to set companies up like this. I wasn't even thinking about none of that. She was just the best person for the job. I don't know, like it ain't always that complicated, right? But I'm just glad she was, because if she wasn't, then maybe there could have been a thing. So I don't know, but
Pops, can you hear us, Pops? It's like going in and out. I can't
hear it for a second. Then he got started.
I would love to get Pops in. I feel like I ain't heard his voice all day.
Look like he's sleeping. That's possible too.
I don't know if he's frozen or sleeping. Could be a little bit of both.
Grandpa stays perfectly still. Like when he sleeps.
What are those reptiles that barely move? What is it?
The chameleon.
Now they blend in, but they what is like move real slow or like they're free.
Oh, there you
go.
That ain't no reptile. Sloth's got hair.
Oh.
You might be thinking about a possum. Possums will play dead.
I learned there's a difference between a possum and a possum.
Is it?
Yeah, they're 2 different animals apparently.
Shut up.
Yeah, it was a different way people saying it, but I thought it was just someone saying the word possum.
A possum.
A possum.
Wait a minute, hold on. Yeah, their tails are different. Shut up. I just thought people were being fancy when they would call it opossum. I'm like, it's a damn possum.
Oh, it's a different.
So wow, so that's crazy. So what we see in the backyard and shit over here, they're actually opossums instead of possums. That is so crazy. Wait a minute, I got share, because this is surprising to me.
This is the groundbreaking information you get in the Untitled Beer Record Show.
This is the groundbreaking information.
Y'all see that?
There's
so what we see is this, and I've been calling them possums.
Mm-hmm.
But possums look like little
those are sugar babies.
Little gerbils or something.
Those are sugar babies.
Rule number 1:
the little small one thing over there.
Yeah.
That looks like
awesome.
Yeah, I mean like you said, like I thought it was somebody trying to be cool, like this is what the possum, trying to say the Latin word for it. We just been saying possum.
Yeah, I really thought that too. I'm like, why do you keep saying opossum? It's possum.
Well, here she comes.
I'm just poking my head in to say y'all the least countryest people talking about the countryest ever thing that you could possibly.
Look at just because we don't know what a spigot and a colander is, you're not about to come in here with your money judging us.
Like, who don't know about opossum and possum?
I was looking around the other room like,
Okay.
What in the tarnation is going on in
Two
there?
different things.
Carnation.
Well, down south is two different things.
Tarnation.
Up here, we just call it all the same stuff. Because I didn't know that until I moved to North Carolina. So.
Oh my gosh, my old bougie spoiled niece. Hey, boo.
Hello. Did your lovely nephew tell you that he's gonna build me a spigot in the back of the house? He's gonna learn plumbing to drill into the house.
I heard a little plumbing. I didn't put
Y'all look so damn cute. Y'all
I
look
didn't
so
put the
So I can
plumbing.
garden.
I didn't put plumbing in the investment house so we can get this house.
I mean,
Cooper's
learning
In the
valuable
investment house.
skills in the process, very important
Yeah,
step.
the investment house. See, Uncle Pooper understand. See, Uncle Pooper sees. I didn't do what my grandfather taught me to do. I didn't found. Look at this. It's the exact same thing almost. I found Ashley in the woods of North Carolina. I brought her back north to Michigan and bought her house, and now she's here. So you see this
in the woods of North Carolina.
Woods, North Carolina. Okay.
This
I lived
all
in Raleigh.
time repeats itself.
I moved from DC. Like
Time repeats itself.
Wow.
Ashley was in the wilderness. I had to bring her back to.
She foo-foo?
I was just a little bunny foo-fooing it out in the woods, apparently. And
In the woods.
Tell him you won't have. I want to talk to you.
In the woods with my designer. In the woods with my designer handbag. And
And her colander for her au pair.
my au pair and colander and spigot.
Walking her a possum.
oh man.
Oh my gosh. Nephew, you a whole mess.
We're trying
I
to
need to
learn
see
our...
pictures and videos when you put in this spigot.
Oh, I'll if he actually does it, I'll be recording it.
Ooh, if he actually does it.
Well, because I'm on, because he's doing it because I wanted to garden. I had like all these garden beds lined up. I'm learning how to do all these old timey things. I was going to start canning and planting the veggies and drying stuff and pickling and making like medicinal, like drying out medicinal herbs and stuff.
Like they do out in the woods.
like we from the woods are wont to do. And I started planning all this stuff out and was like, okay, well, let me track down my water source. So I go to our spigot outside and was like, don't turn on. Okay, so I go to the basement. I'm hunching around and I look in the spigot. It's just a pipe. Juts to our house for about 3 feet and then just stops.
Oh my goodness.
It was for cosmetic purposes.
Okay, yeah, I was like, this makes no sense. And so now there's a guy who we're looking at getting new windows, and he was like, if you buy windows for me, he's like, I'll come drill the spigot hole for y'all myself if you want. And I was like,
I know that's right.
That's how I know this quote you're about to give me is real big, sir. And it was. And I might make him come drill to it for so my poor husband doesn't have to.
That's
Hey, what was the quote we got on windows? I cannot remember.
What'd you say?
What was the quote we got on those windows years ago? Do you remember?
I remember it like, sir, if you don't get the hell out of here.
We live in a historic district, so it can't be regular vinyl windows. It has to be wood windows that are aluminum clad on the outside, and we have approximately 30 windows that they would need to replace.
30?
Full frame.
I counted how many windows we have. Let's see. Hold on. 1, 2,
30.
3, 4.
Goodness
I see
gracious.
7,
Like
8,
15.
9, 10, 11, 12,
And
13.
y'all,
We have 16.
when y'all
And
come
out
by,
of those 16, 3 of them are like abnormal size. So when he came and did the quote, he was like, do you want to replace them with the same size windows? Or do you want to make those 3 into 2? Or do you want one big, what do they call picture windows? Like, what do you want to do? Like, we don't know what that price are. We don't want none of it. None of it.
None of it.
So, like, for a frame of reference, I went to the George Washington University in 2000 and blah, 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 blah. At the time, it was the most expensive school in the country, tuition-wise. This quote was higher than that. I could send someone to college, room and board, for a year, and had given them a little spending money.
And that motherfucker said, I'll drill you a hole.
How the hell y'all got 30 windows?
He was like, I'll install the hose for you myself.
He said, I'll drill you a hole. I'll do that for
you. Got that right to go drill a hole. And excuse me, but I'm gonna get a happy ending. We're gonna negotiate a lot of things, sir.
He's like, I'll do the whole pipe for you. He's like, if your husband wants, we can come out, we can make a day of it. He's like, I'll show him how to do it. I'll bring the tool. I'll do it. I was like,
I'm sorry, let me
I
add.
got a month off after you drop this break.
If I add the basement windows, then that's 21 windows.
So that's not counting our basement window. That's only counting main floor and second floor. That's not counting.
You got a lot of lighting. Oh,
that's why it's great because I love the light. Helps see the compression. None of that here. But when it comes to me having to clean said windows, or when it comes to having to have them replaced, and they're all the windows from 1914.
Can I? If I tell you something, will you promise not to judge me, bougie niece?
I do, because I love you that much.
In the 16 years we've been here, I never cleaned the windows.
Listen, I don't judge that. You like also, in fairness, I feel like most people don't. I only cleaned our windows in the last house because Sean bought me double hung windows from Pella, so I found it really cool to fold them in.
Now, exactly. Now, what I have done, I've sprayed them from the outside. I did pressure, whatever. I haven't done that in a while.
That counts.
But, yeah. So what y'all need to do? Y'all need to decide which one, or if both of y'all are gonna get on sugarbabies.com. So that y'all can get them things paid.
Which one of us is starting the OnlyFans? Do I need to be fine?
Look here. Let's see what people like. I know somebody who put their feet up on OnlyFans. Said they love her damn feet. She put up her feet like that, the soles, and spread the toes. She said, "Girl, they love when I spread my toes."
Yep. When you lick. Yeah.
You know what was weird? I saw a dude doing that the other day. I don't know how I fell on his page, but I was scrolling looking for something. And I saw the soles of his feet. I was like, fam, what are you doing?
You were scrolling on OnlyFans looking for something?
I was not on no OnlyFans, fool.
That's what it sounded like.
Look, I don't yuck nobody's yum. However, I will never understand. Like, part of me's like, there's a marketing phenomenon, behind, because I'm like, feet. I'm gonna just videos of me just giving myself a nice little polish and a buff.
I was about to say, I'll sit here and just polish my toes. I tell them, y'all choose which color.
Yes.
$20 to choose to
if
vote.
You send a tip, you get
$20 to vote for a color.
I actually have a funny foot story. Like, this was back in Virginia. Ashley was hanging out. I put my feet on her lap, right? Because I was laying on the couch. She
already knew what you were gonna say.
I put my feet on her lap, and to this point, she had never seen my feet without shoes or socks on. And she looked down, and I'm watching TV, and I hear a sound I never heard before. I turn and look at her. She is bawling, crying.
First off, he's lying.
She is bawling, crying.
First off, he's leaving some really key details out of this. Okay, so yes, he put his feet across my lap. I said, "You have hobbit feet," and he said, "What's a hobbit?" And I said, "First off, we don't have time for that. Second,
there's no time for that.
It means you have hair on your toe and the top of your feet, and it wasn't a couple of few strands, right? It was
her
patches of and he said hobbit feet, and he took his foot and said and turned my face to look at me, turned his foot and pressed it closer, and that's when I started physically shaking. I was like, and then he opened his toes and said, "So you see how when you add those extra details in there, my response doesn't seem so ridiculous."
Oh my God! You are lucky she still married your ass, boy. I would have killed you
much sooner if he hadn't done that. He delayed our love story.
Wow. Now, I don't. What's interesting is I'm not a big fan of seeing men's feet out of post. For some reason, men in flip-flops and sandals and stuff, it throws me off for some reason. I feel like that's personal, and nobody should see your feet except your woman. I don't understand. But I don't have a problem with your uncle's feet. I'm giving him pedicures, massage his feet, rub them down, scrub them. I don't mind that, but it's something about seeing other men's feet. I just be like, why are you showing?
So that explains why you was on OnlyFans.
I was not on OnlyFans. Shut up.
I want men to feel comfortable in their bodies the same way I want women to feel, right? But every now and then when I see a man in sandals, I just want to be like, listen, we need to lay down some ground rules about if you're going to be in these.
I won't look down. I feel like that's disrespectful. I feel like that is very personal space.
Wow. Y'all out of control.
Like your Uncle Hank loves wearing little sandals and shit. I'm like, wow, your toes out. Like, I don't want to see my brother's toes.
Him and Dad be wearing sandals.
I've also
They do. I don't
But
want
Dad
to see
be
their
like,
toes.
I'm not sure if you ever seen my dad's feet, but you
No.
can tell he's been in the military for a long time. Like Dad has bulletproof feet. Like if someone were to shoot at him and he keeps his foot up real fast, the bullet will be caught on the first 2 layers.
Smack him down with his feet.
So since we're talking about your brother, I was scrolling through my phone the other day looking for something, and then I was looking through my videos on my phone. There's a video of Duty talking shit, talking about he feel like he could take his Uncle Sean. I was like, what? Say it again. Say it again, and I'm going to forward it. And then he's like, well, I'm just, and the video was like real short because he didn't realize I was recording. I was like, y'all gonna stop talking shit, acting like anybody in this family could take him. Not you, not you, not you, not you, not me. Not nobody could take that man. He crazy.
The only person who could take
Mila
him would be, would be Mila, or maybe me when pregnant, and only because he'd be trying to spare his future grandchild.
No, maybe you're right.
It would be a deferred ass whooping.
Yep.
Until after birth, he'd be like,
as soon as you had that baby,
you might think about it and be like, he's still of childmaking age. You can make another one.
Look here. Look here.
He's coming along, so whatever.
I remember when I was younger, I used to try to fight Dad all the time, but it always ended like those Smash Mouth videos, like some. We've
seen the videos of y'all wrestling in the living room and you getting hemmed up by your old ass daddy. We've seen them.
It'd be like those old Saturday Night Live skits where they have the doll and the explosion having the body just fly in the living room.
Yes. No, nobody want none of your daddy. Like I said, I still say that was the best part about y'all doggone wedding reception, as your dad was giving his speech. And Ashley's poor family thought he was just being cute and funny. And we over at the table cracking the fuck up like they have no idea that he is telling all the truth right now.
I got a 2 o'clock. I got to jump off. But
yeah, it's true. I got to get back to work anyway. And see what happens. Auntie summon Uncle Boomer ain't give us five. He just left.
It's just me and Grandpa. It's just me and you.
Well, I tell you what, do your final thoughts since we on survivors? Grandpa gonna be going back in and out this meeting the rest of the day.
My final thought is that the Inksternet is the best word ever. I think that should go into somebody's dictionary. If nothing else, what's the Black Dictionary? Urban Dictionary.
Black Laws Dictionary.
The Urban Dictionary. It should go in the Urban Dictionary because that is the epitome of what it is. So kudos to you and your creativity. My nephew's awesome. There we go. What's your final thought, nephew?
You see, I changed one.
You see that admin? You don't want to be the admin, and that means you are the problem, sir. Don't be the admin.
I'm about to be the solution.
Mm-hmm.
My final thought. We talked about a few things today. I guess my final thought is I learned that apparently it costs more to hire somebody than to keep them, and I also learned how to spell the difference between how to spell possum and opossum.
Look here, I've learned the difference between what they are. I've known how to spell it, but I'm just like really over here looking at these like, wow, that is so crazy.
And the last part of my final thought is for that is it's interesting. It says opossum, but it starts with an O.
Opossum. It's opossum.
Oh, opossum. I've been saying opossum.
So wait a minute. Last story, and then we're gonna go. So we used to have, hey Pops, we used to have our friends used to live 4 doors down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Oh, I thought y'all couldn't hear me.
Oh, now the internet works?
Boy, now that it was your uncle that was the problem the whole time.
It's the Inksternet. The Inksternet giveth, the Inksternet taketh away.
Only one Freddie at a time. One Freddie at a time. But yeah, so our neighbor 4 doors down. Uh-oh.
Oh, no, the Inksternet. The Inksternet took over. What were you saying, Auntie? Oh, sorry.
Nobody heard.
I'm trying to see if it's gonna catch up to
He telling a whole story right now.
her. A whole story.
What was your thing, Auntie?
So we had neighbors that we would call wife and husband number 2, right? So I would call him my husband number 2 because he was a real handyman, blue collar guy. So if anything needed to be done around the house, because you know your uncle don't like that stuff, we would call him. So that became the joke, you know, like if it was something that your uncle didn't want to do, call number 2. So one day I see an old possum in the backyard, and he walking real slow, and I see him going back by the shed. He didn't come back from behind the shed. And I said, I bet you that thing, like it was walking so I said, I bet you that thing, the women died behind this dang on shed. Nephew, I was right. I go look, the opossum is behind the shed, dead as hell. So I come tell you, the uncle, I said, babe, that dang on thing died behind the shed. Go get it. He said, I'm not finna do it. That's not a job for me. You need to call number 2 for that. Cool. Call number 2. Number 2, come down here. It's a dead opossum in the backyard. Well, possum, because back then I wasn't cultured enough. I said, it's dead possum in the backyard. He said, what? Dead possum? I'm going to come down there. So they come down here, and you've been to our house.
Yeah.
He went and looked, and he said, number 2, that's outside of my wheelhouse. I don't do that. So do you know I had to get the dead ass possum while them 2 grown ass men stood in the sun porch and looked at me like cowered together as I got a shovel, put the possum on the shovel and threw it in the bag. So me being me, I just start twirling the bitch, acting like I'm gonna throw it at him because how y'all scared and I got the damn possum.
That part, I thought you were gonna say something completely different. Like you went back there and it was alive because possums play dead.
They play dead. That's why I was nervous. You know, I kept throwing stuff at it and hitting it. That thing was deader than dead. And number 2 wouldn't get it. Number 1 wouldn't get it. So here I am, a woman out here getting the dang on possum because they was both too scared to get it. Pops, can you hear us again yet? Sound like he's trying to come in and out.
Oh, Grandpa, you done see he'll answer your question to it after we hang up when the catches
Pops,
up.
can you hear us? Uh-oh. Pops, I don't know if you can hear me now, but what beer are you drinking today? I see, is that a Grosh?
That's a Grosh or a Heineken.
That looks like Grosh. I see the top.
Yeah, that's a Grosh. That's a Grosh.
Yeah.
Oh,
he can hear us.
Well, he didn't got the Grosh again. So what is that? A 5.5, a 6?
Oh, he loves the Grosh. She said that's good beer.
He's not even in love. He don't do what I do and get like a small amount of the beer. It's just so I can keep rating different ones. He buys a whole bunch and has boxes and boxes of the same beer. And I'm like, Grandpa, this is a rating show. We got to spread it out. But I'll bring him this other can I got of this, and he can rate that next time and tell us how he feels about it.
Look at him smiling. He's smiling with that Grosh.
Well, he's happy. I'll tell you
He
that.
is.
Internet. It always finds the best picture of you to stop at.
You so ratchet. I love it.
Internet.
My second final thought is I sure hope we get to talk to Pops next week. I hate that we didn't get to get any 92 feedback, you know.
Well, I'm gonna go, like I said, I'm gonna go over there Friday. I'm gonna move his modem away from the heater again, as it's right there right now.
Look at that smile.
And we'll see how it goes. And hopefully he'll survive Grandpa redecorating his room again. Because he'll forget and be like, oh, I thought I put this right here. And then,
I feel like he's touching on something. His mic keep going off at all.
He just smiled. He posing with the beard and everything.
Look here. That's a perfect picture. That's a dating profile picture. But look here. We're not about to talk about no dating profiles. I don't want they come to haunt me. Look here. No.
Haunt.
I don't want it. So, all right. Let's just see next week after the holiday. Love y'all.
Oh, you guys are. Oh yeah, after the holiday Tuesday. I keep forgetting. Yeah. I was about to show up to work Monday. I don't even think about it.
Go ahead. Go get that. You get time and a half. Nope. Go ahead, log in because you salary. So if you show, that's just on you, sir.
Love you, Auntie.
Love you more.
See you, Grandpa.
Bye-bye.